because absolute independence is also not sort of. I think that will come to play the role. This is the whole thing. And as far as 5 persons representing the civil society, that is not adequate, that is not true representation. Then how can even 500 people who are the members of parliament and also a few hundred members of assemblies can really represent the millions of people is also a question.
Mr. Ketkar,
so in a representative democracy,
Mr. Ketkar,
I think we have to judge
Mr. Ketkar, see the way the debate's going. Mr. Jethmalani, just coming to you. Mr. Ketkar, see the way the debate is going. Tonight, we have been debating the points, the issues. And I find that even on this issue, where Prem Shankar Jha would have been seen to be anti sort of Team Anna, he agrees with many of the points that Team Anna has recommended. The question is over the method. So you made the point, Mr. Ketkar, about parallel government. Would you revise your position tonight after hearing this debate? They are not recommending a parallel government.
I don't think I need to revise my position at all, because I consider it is a well thought out position. For instance, I do not know if I as a government officer or if I as a citizen want to question the decision or the investigation method of the Lokpal, where do I go? Do I go to Supreme Court saying that the Lokpal is biased, that the Lokpal machinery is investigating me, actually witch hunting me? You wondered why I mentioned McCarthy. That is because McCarthy's system was independent of the Supreme Court or any court in America, and they were trying to investigate, and they were trying to prosecute, and they were trying to punish. And the same thing will happen. Lokpal will become an independent judicial system, which is independent of Supreme Court, which is independent of Parliament, and therefore Lokpal will become a supreme government over the government and over the judiciary. And I don't think this is a way of doing justice. I am not saying that CBI is right, Home Ministry is right, government is not corrupt, or Supreme Court or judiciary is very clean. I am not saying that. But the point is, while creating or while demolishing one monster, we may end up creating worse and more dangerous monster instead.
Prashant Bhushan disagrees, but before I come to you, Mahesh Jethmalani, I think there were 16 points in the grievance redressal mechanism of the Lokpal which McCarthy would not have heard about. But would you like to respond to that view of Mr. Kumar Ketkar?
Well, there are just two things I want to say. There are two issues raised in this debate which need clarification. One is the Lokpal bill, in the form presented by civil society, does not require a constitutional amendment. As regards Mr. Ketkar's observation that it's going to become a super government sitting over the judiciary, that's not true, because the Lokpal will be subject to judicial review under Article 226 and Article 32 of the Constitution of India by the High Court and the Supreme Court in matters where it's accused of bias or absence of natural justice. So it will be subject, it's not going to be a super body superior to the Indian judiciary. That's the fallacy which needs to be dispelled.
But then in that case you are referring matter back to the so-called corrupt judiciary.
You are referring matter back to the so-called corrupt judiciary. No, Mr. Ketkar, you are loading the terms of this debate. Nobody says that any institution is per se or inherently corrupt. We are saying that the experience has shown, the Indian experience has shown, that our institutions are being manned by corrupt people, and it is necessary to weed out corrupt people. We don't damn the institutions, we damn those corrupt people who are sometimes manning the institutions, often because of bad selection procedures, because they are political appointments. And that's one of the issues which the Lokpal bill seeks to address, that get the selection procedure right, you'll get the right men to man institutions. Today, every institution is subverted because they are appointed by politicians. The CBC is only the most recent example, but CBI heads, and in Maharashtra, police chiefs have to bid for their police postings. They have to pay money and bid by auction for police postings. So take the selection procedure outside the purview of the executive, and you'll get a much better institution.
Kumar Ketkar, I'll give you a full time to respond, and so will I go to Vinod Sharma. Prashant Bhushan, yes.
Yes. No, I was saying that this business about the Lokpal becoming a monster or a Frankenstein, etc., is totally misplaced. As Mahesh said, the Lokpal firstly will be amenable to the writ jurisdiction of the High Court as well as the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Apart from that, the Lokpal is accountable in multiple ways. The 11 members of the Lokpal will be accountable to the Supreme Court. Any complaint can be made to the Supreme Court, and a bench of the Supreme Court, if it finds a member of the Lokpal guilty of misconduct can order his removal. The machinery under the Lokpal, if the CBI is brought under the Lokpal, if there is a vigilance department under the Lokpal, they will be accountable to independent complaints authorities which will be set up in every state. Apart from that, they will be mandated to function transparently, and as soon as an investigation is over, all the records of that investigation will be put up on a website. Instead of that, this government has exempted the CBI from RTI altogether. So we have, and then there will be a CAG audit of performance and financial audit of the Lokpal. And all that the Lokpal is empowered to do is to investigate. It enjoys no other powers except investigation and some subsidiary powers like dismissal of corrupt public servants who are found to be guilty of corruption, etc., and protection of whistleblowers, as well as some powers regarding redressal of certain kinds of grievances which...
Mr. Ketkar, are you assuaged with the points of view you've heard from both sides?
No, not at all, because they are not convincing. The point is, finally, you are again going against Lokpal to the same judiciary system, and the judges are appointed by the government. And so finally you are going to file the case against Lokpal, if I have any, to the judiciary. I am not saying the judiciary is corrupt. I am not even saying that you are all saying that all judiciary is corrupt. The point that you are making is some judges are corrupt, just as some politicians are corrupt, just as some CBI members are corrupt, police are corrupt, and so on and so forth.
Well,
so we are talking of individuals on the one hand and actually trying to change the system. So I think we attack the institution by calling it, by saying that I am against the individuals. But effectively what you are doing is creating a parallel judiciary which is answerable to the existing judiciary. I think it is absurd. The whole thing is theatre of the absurd.
Well, I mean, there are strong views on all sides.
It's not a judiciary.
Strong views on all sides. Vinod Sharma, you've raised your hand there to wrap up. Yes. Vinod Sharma, yes. Yeah. Briefly.
No, but you see, the point has been made that there's no constitutional amendment is required. You see, if what a member of parliament says or does on the floor of the House, if that is going to become the subject of a prosecution,
why not?
It will require a constitutional amendment.
No, but one second.
I mean, there is a constitutional protection available to members of parliament.
And
also,
Medha Patkar is rebutting you. Medha Patkar is rebutting you. 1 second.
Is justiciable
Medha Patkar.
in a court of law.
Medha
That if the same court is under the Lokpal, would there not be an element of fear amongst the judges?
Here, Medha Patkar, yes.
Nowhere have I heard the specific part and the clause which will need to be amended, because if this was the case,
105.
then even to accept the joint committee and to discuss the Jadal Lokpal bill, the draft of the civil society members, would have been unconstitutional move taken by the UPA government. Why did they take it at all? So the very fact that they were looking at the two drafts or many drafts within the constitutional framework, that was the reason why they started with this process. The another thing is, there is this interlinking of subsystems within the system is there all throughout. The Prime Minister can be brought before the judiciary and still the government has a role in appointing the judges.
Well,
the police and the judiciary also interact.
What do people want?
Whenever there is dishonesty on either side.
What do people want?
I think the people really want. People want a stronger system which can treat everyone as equal, and anywhere, whichever part of the system there is a corrupt element, that should be brought before
last rebut tonight from Prem Shankar Jha.
Just one point.
The state.
Last rebut from Prem Shankar Jha to Medha Patkar before I close the debate. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, it's not a rebut to anybody, Arnab. What people want is freedom from perennial extortion by unaccountable policemen, bureaucrats and politicians. And whatever is needed for that, the most important thing for that actually is to give the power of suo motu investigation and preparation of cases and the appropriate machinery to a Lokpal and Lok Ayukt system.
Yes.
For the judiciary, I don't say you should have no system. I think the lower judiciary is thoroughly corrupt in this country.
Oh, yes.
But I think you do need a different system. You need to keep the two separate.
Well,
and I think I would love civil society to take this matter up next. Don't put everything under the same hat. This is not a once and for all battle.
Not
The
at
battle
all.
has got to be fought over years now. There are many other issues ahead of us.
Well, I think on that you have everyone's
Let
vote.
us accept to differ. Arnab, just one point. Let us accept to differ, but at least let both the drafts go beyond cabinet to the parliament. Because anyway, the major members of the parliament, the senior most, were on this drafting committee. And if they have differed with the civil society team, then why can't
Well,
both
I
the
think that's
drafts
the
go to
BJP's fear.
parliament?
The BJP's fear is the BJP's fear is it will come to parliament and BJP will have to be forced to take a position
one point.
on the key issues. Vinod Sharma, only for want of time.
But I would
Only for want of
just one point.
Okay.
Arnab, I think when it comes to judiciary, there should be a wider debate involving a larger number of top jurists of this country.
Oh, yes.
Whose integrity is beyond
Oh,
question.
yes.
Yes.
I think unless you bring them in,
Absolutely.
I would like to hear Victim Justice Venkat
Yes.
Chelaiya.
Yes.
He studied the working of
but
the Constitution under the NDA.
But then-
why should somebody from the civil society say,
But
what does
Mr.
it matter
Sharma,
what he says?
Mr. Sharma.
That's what I heard from one of the
Mr.
members
Sharma.
of the drafting committee.
Mr. Sharma, let
Justice
there
Verma,
also be a
very
debate on the
learned judge,
bureaucracy.
very well regarded.
Let there be a
Mr.
debate.
Khalid Arima, Mr. Ram Jethmalani.
Yes.
They are all better lawyers than some of them who are there on this panel.
No, let there be a debate on the bureaucracy as well, because we don't believe that it's only Group A officers and above who are corrupt and therefore under the Lokpal. Big debates need to happen. Prem Shankar Jha put it rightly. This debate has to continue, not stop here. And I'm so glad tonight, so glad that we got a chance to debate the specifics, the merits of the case. And that's what we are going to do.